Chapter 7. When she walked in that morning, I woke up even more tired than usual. My body ached, my eyes were heavy, but I got up anyway. Same dirty uniform, same sore legs, same dream buried deep in my chest. The dream of one day, changing my clothes, fixing my hair, and finally speaking to her, the girl from the church, the one I watched from a distance every Sunday in silence. I didn't know her name. I didn't know where she lived. All I knew was she was everything I wasn't. And yet somehow, she became the reason I kept going. I walked through the streets of Amen, past shuttered shops and honking taxis, heading toward another long day at Stop and Shop. The air was hot. The shelves were already half empty. The old fridge was leaking again. The manager was yelling like always. Same misery. Different day. I was cleaning near the fruit section, head down, just trying to breathe. When I heard the sound, the bell above the door, nothing unusual, until I heard the silence that followed it. The place went quiet. I looked up, and time stopped. She stepped through the doorway like a scene from a movie, graceful, confident, untouchable. 2 bodyguards in black stood behind her, her clothes, elegant but effortless, her posture, composed, almost royal. I knew that face. I'd memorized every detail of it from the church. It was her, the girl I never had the courage to speak to, the girl I thought I'd never see anywhere else. She didn't see me, not right away. Ria sized the shelves like she belonged in a palace, not a dusty supermarket in a poor neighborhood. But I couldn't look away. I forgot about the mop in my hand. I forgot about the sweat dripping from my face. I forgot about everything. Then she turned. Her eyes landed on mine. For a moment the noise came back. My heartbeat, the buzzing fridges, the sound of footsteps, all at once. I looked away ashamed of how I looked. My dirty shirt, my cracked hands, my world. But then, someone called out to her from behind the counter. Catalina, just like that. A name.
Name?
I had waited to hear for months. A name I had whispered without knowing.
What name?
I would never forget. Catalina. She glanced toward the voice, smiled faintly, and continued walking, passing just a few feet away from me. And in that single moment, the distance between her world and mine had never felt so real. But something inside me changed that day, because now she wasn't just a dream from the church. Now she had a name. Now she had seen me. Stay tuned for part 8. Sometimes the smallest moment is the beginning of everything. Chapter 8. Between two worlds that night. I couldn't sleep, not even for a minute. My body was aching from another long shift at the supermarket, but my mind was racing, because something had changed. Something I had dreamed about actually happened. She looked at me. She saw me. And now I knew her name. Catalina. A name I'd never forget. A name that kept repeating in my head like a song I didn't want to end. But as beautiful as that moment was, the moment it passed, reality came crashing back in. She came from a world of wealth, power, security. Her father was in the Jordanian army. Probably lived in a big villa with guards at the gate, a driver waiting outside. She probably had a passport that opened doors. A future already written in gold. And me, I was nobody. A refugee. Stateless. Uncertain. We were in the same city, but living on 2 different planets. I shared a tiny room with my brothers. We used a curtain to separate our sleeping space from the kitchen. We had to boil water on the stove just to shower. Sometimes we didn't even know if we could afford food the next day. And worse than poverty was uncertainty, because Jordan wasn't our destination. It was only a stop on the road. We had submitted our papers, an application for refuge, to a place we had only seen in photos, Australia. But there were no answers, no updates, no idea if we were staying or leaving. We didn't even know if they would accept us. So how could I even think about love? How could I open my heart to someone when I didn't even know what country I'd be living in next month? And yet, I couldn't forget her. I kept seeing the way she walked into that supermarket, the way her eyes scanned the shelves. The second she looked at me, it wasn't pity, it wasn't judgment. It was just neutral, kind, real. It gave me hope, and that terrified me. Because hope is dangerous when you don't have control over your own future. I started questioning everything. Do I talk to her? Do I try to see her again at the church? Hey, do I let this feeling grow? Even though I might disappear from this country forever? What if I fall in love in a place I'm not even meant to stay? But even as I tried to talk myself out of it, I knew something had shifted inside me, because the truth was, she wasn't just a girl from church anymore. She wasn't just a dream anymore. Now she had a name. Now she had a face. Amen. And now she had a place in my heart that I didn't know how to close. Stay tuned for part 9, when your heart belongs in one place, but your future may lead somewhere else. Chapter 9. The days after that day in the supermarket, nothing looked the same. The streets I walked every morning, they felt different. Sounds, the smells, even the dust in the air. Everything seemed heavier, sharper, more alive. It was like seeing her. It opened something inside me that I didn't even know was closed, but at the same time, it made everything harder. Because now I woke up each day with 2 battles to fight. It's one outside me and one inside. The first was survival. It's working long hours at the supermarket, lifting boxes, stocking heavy crates, smiling at rude customers, trying to act normal when my body was begging me to sit down, even just for 5 minutes. 16 hours a day. No holidays, no breaks, no mercy. I was tired. So tired sometimes, I forgot what my own voice sounded like. But now, there was something new inside that pain. A pulse, a voice, a thought that refused to leave. Catalina. Would she come back? Would she remember me? Was that one glance just a coincidence? Or something more I didn't know? And that made the second battle, the one inside, my even harder. Because I couldn't stop thinking. I kept replaying that moment like a movie stuck on loop. I even started cleaning the same aisle where she had stood. Every day, I wiped the bottles twice. I dusted the shelf edges slowly, just in case. Maybe she'd come back. Maybe she'd remember my face. Maybe I'd finally find the courage to speak. But then, that voice of doubt came back. What would I even say? Hi, I'm Fernando. I work here. I mop floors. I stock vegetables. I think about you every single day. No, I couldn't say that, so I stayed quiet. But my silence grew heavier by the day. I started dressing a little better, washing my face a little more carefully, fixing my collar, just in case. She was always there now, not in front of me, but behind everything I did. When I walked to work, I thought of her. When I counted coins to buy bread, I wondered what kind of food she had at home. When I lay down at night, exhausted and aching, I imagined what it might be like to sit beside her just once and have a conversation that didn't end in silence. But I didn't move. I didn't chase her. Not yet. Because part of me still believed that people like her and people like me didn't belong in the same sentence. But still, every single day I showed up. Every single day I worked. Every single day I looked toward that door, hoping, because sometimes hope is the only thing that keeps your feet moving. When the world around you wants you to stop, stay tuned for Chapter 10, when waiting becomes unbearable. Something has to change. Chapter 10. When waiting breaks, waiting sounds peaceful. But when it lasts too long, it becomes a storm inside your chest. Every day I went back to work at Stop and Shop. Same routine, same aisles, same hopes. But something was changing in me. Quietly, almost invisibly, I started to feel trapped, not by the supermarket, not by the long hours, not even by the pain in my back, or the numbness in my feet after 16 hours on my feet. No, I was trapped by my own silence. Every morning I walked to work hoping to see her again, Catalina, just to catch another glimpse, another second, another breath of hope. But she never came back, not for weeks. And with every day that passed, I began to feel like I was chasing a shadow that never belonged to me in the first place. I kept playing out fake conversations in my head. Me walking up to her, smiling, saying something clever, something brave. And then reality would snap me out of it. When I was asked to scrub spilled milk off the tile, carry 50-pound bags of rice to the back storage, I started to realize something painful. I wasn't just waiting for her. I was waiting for a life I didn't know I'd ever get. Waiting for Australia. Waiting for a yes. Waiting for something to tell me I was finally allowed to live. I was getting tired of it. The silence wasn't romantic anymore. It was lonely. It was suffocating. And the more I waited, the more I started to ask myself, what if this is it? What if I wait my whole life and nothing ever changes? One night I got home after work. It was past midnight. My clothes smelled like sweat and soap and freezer air. My brothers were asleep. My parents were sitting in silence at the small table, both of them looking older than they had just a week ago. I walked past them, went into the small room I shared with my brothers, and sat on the floor in the dark. And I whispered to myself, enough. Not enough of dreaming, not enough of loving, not even enough of hoping, but enough of just surviving, enough of waiting. Because waiting without action is a slow kind of death. And something in me had just woken up. Stay tuned for chapter 11 when silence becomes too loud to ignore. It's time to speak. The walk toward courage. It was Sunday morning. The streets were quiet. Ammon was slow to wake up. I hadn't been to church in weeks. Work, exhaustion. Life had taken over. But that morning I didn't care. I had made a decision. I was going. Not for prayer, not for peace. I was going for her, Catalina, the girl I couldn't stop thinking about. The one who looked at me once and made the world stop. And this time, I wouldn't just watch her. I was going to speak. I hadn't planned the words. I just knew I had to say something, even if I looked like a fool, even if my voice cracked, even if I failed. I ironed my best shirt twice, put on the jeans with the least damage, and glued my shoes one more time. I left the house with trembling hands, but my mind was clear. I had never felt so certain about doing something that scared me this much. The walk to church felt longer than usual, not because of the distance, but because of what it meant. I was tired, worn down from life, from hours of invisible work and endless waiting, but today was about me, about finally taking a step. I entered the church, sat near the front, eyes scanning, heart pounding. She wasn't there, not yet. I tried to pray, but all I could think about was her, and then I felt it, that quiet shift in the air, that stillness before something important. I looked up. She was walking in, not with bodyguards this time, just her mother, just her. White dress, braided hair, a Bible in her hand. She sat 3 rows ahead, graceful, composed, everything I remembered. I couldn't look away. My chest tightened. My hands were shaking. Just before the priest stood to speak, I stood first, walked out.